This past year of television was great to me. I mean, we met some really interesting, complex characters. Some of my favorite episodes of TV this past decade came out in 2023. Some really rich, detailed storylines, from meeting an obsessive fan who was willing to do anything to meet her idol, to seeing two complete strangers having beef with one another and trying to destroy each other's lives, to meeting a whole new generation of superheroes. And we finally find out who's going to be running the family company. Today I'm going to be sharing with you all my top 10 best shows of 2023. So let's have some fun. What is going on, TV fans, and welcome back to my channel. This is my favorite time of the year, y'all, because this is when I'm going to be sharing my list with you all over the next coming weeks. Top 10 movies, most anticipated projects, but today we are focusing on my top 10 best shows of 2023. Now, just a friendly reminder, this is my personal list. There's no right or wrong answers.
Wrong, sir. Wrong. You lose. Good day, sir.
But that's where you all come in the comments below. Share with me your favorite characters of 2023 on television, your favorite episodes you saw this year, to more importantly, sharing your personal top 10 shows that you saw this previous year in the comments below. So before we get into my top 10 list, let me share with you all some honorable mentions, starting off with Apple TV Plus Season 1 of Shrinking. Now, I didn't cover this show on the channel. It was kind of my own little personal show that I love these characters. It's so funny, it's so detailed, but it tackles mental health in such a fascinating way. And if you are a fan of Jason Segel, but more importantly, if you're a fan of Harrison Ford like I am, I'm telling y'all right now, one of, if not his best performance I've ever seen on any platform, whether it's movies or shows. Harrison Ford is fantastic in the show. Check out Shrinking if you haven't already. Moving on to Disney Plus, Low-Key Season 2. I love Low-Key. I love the development and the growth of the character over the past, 15 years or so. Such a great send-off. Such an interesting way to kind of maybe end or begin the Kang saga with all the stuff going on behind the scenes. But what a great season of Low-Key. But last but not least, Amazon Prime finally has brought us Season 2 of Invincible, but only Part 1. It would have ended up on my list, but it's only half of a story. But I love seeing Mark getting some W's under his belt this past Part 1, Season 2. Seeing that reunion with his dad. A lot of great stuff, but I'm so excited for Part 2. But again, just a couple honorable mentions. Why don't you go ahead and share some of yours in the comment section. But that brings us to the top 10 list. Starting off with my number 10. Who doesn't love a murder mystery that involves a murder and killer musical? We're talking about Only Murders in the Building Season 3. What a step in the right direction, in my opinion. I've loved Season 1, but Season 2 was a bit of a step down, especially that conclusion, but they brought it back in such a great way. As not only did they give us more of our favorite crime-solving trio of Mabel and Oliver and Charles, but then they went ahead and added not only the vampire known as Paul Rudd, but also one of the greatest actors of all time in Meryl Streep. There were so many great twists and turns and incredible performances across the board. And again, the musical elements, seeing Oliver's play out, it was so amazing. And again, the mystery was so good this time around. And I just love the new cast members. I love the continuation of the characters that we met back in Season 1. And I was able to predict, let me pat myself on the back, who the killer was. But nonetheless, what a fantastic season for a great show. And I'm really excited to see what they do with Season 4 of Only Murders in the Building. But Season 3 is coming in at my number 10, which brings us to my number 9. What happens when an obsessed Houston-based fan goes incredibly violent lengths to see her favorite R&B singer? Well, you have Amazon Prime Swarm. This to me was one of the most interesting shows this year, brought to us by the incredible minds of Janine Neighbors and Donald Glover. What a fantastic and unpredictable story with so many interesting things to say about toxic fandom and some very bold and creative choices made in this show. But my goodness, can we take a moment to appreciate the greatness that Dominique Fishback brought in the role as Dre? Now, some of the writing and the direction towards the end wasn't perfect, but I really enjoyed the insane journey the series took us on, and I would really love to see this creative team come back together to make another banger of a show. If you all haven't seen Swarm, do yourself a favor. It is fantastic. If you're an Atlanta fan, there's some horror in there, some comedy, and just a great show altogether, and that's why Swarm was coming in at my number 9. Now, that brings us to my number 8. I had my doubts about this spinoff of the incredible show The Boys, but how great was season 1 of Gen V? Not only did it manage to have its own story, but also tie into the universe of The Boys so organically and natural. It is wild, it is crazy, and it can be shockingly gross at times, but the best part of the show was the lengths and the depths of these characters. Like, I cared for all of these characters, the good guys, the bad guys. This cast was just absolutely incredible. Being able to not only make me care about these individual stories, but also really dive into them having superpowers and them not allowing their superpowers to define them, but also them not really feeling powerful having those special powers. Such a great story being developed with the connections to The Boys that I love to see, and that finale was so damn good. I am really looking forward to not only seeing season 2 of Gen V, but also when we get the new season of The Boys, season 4, I hope to see some of those characters from Gen V make their presence felt in the new season of The Boys. I was such a fan of Gen V. Let me know if you all liked it as well, but man, that finale, I can't wait to see what they have lined up for us next. Speaking of next, let's talk about my number 7, which is a show that started with these two stressed out people looking to get into some trouble and all starting off with some road rage. We're talking about Netflix Beef. Literally had me on the edge of my seat while watching the show. I never knew what was coming, and that's a compliment to the show because it was so unpredictable. It has some of the best writing this year I've seen on TV as we explore these characters' lives, and they're showing us the pressures they have and the circumstances they face that led them to crossing paths and trying to destroy each other's lives. All while tackling themes of anger, classism, the Asian family culture, relationship, and forgiveness. This entire ensemble cast was phenomenal, but Steven Yeun and Ali Wong were just on another level. Like, the writing was so good, the performance was so good. Again, it was just so unpredictable from the first episode to the last. One of my favorite miniseries this year on Netflix was Beef, and that's why it's coming in at my number 7, which brings us into my number 6, which is a show that unfortunately and unexpectedly, sadly, came to an end way too soon, but still had a fantastic season 2, and that is Winning Time. Now, as a lifelong fan of both basketball and the Lakers, seeing the highs and lows of one of the greatest teams of all time coming toe-to-toe with the Celtics was everything I wanted. The storylines were so great, minus everything going on with Dr. Bus and his girlfriend turned wife. That storyline didn't really work for me, but everything else in the show was just so damn good. To seeing all the drama with Coach Paul and Pat Riley, to seeing Magic Johnson versus his team, and the recreation of those iconic basketball moments just all came together for just a great season of television. Extremely sad that HBO or Max canceled this during the strike, but I can only hope that Amazon Prime or Apple TV Plus will bring the show back, because literally the way season 2 ends is like in the prime of that storyline. There's so many great more stories to tell within that Laker dynasty. So again, fingers crossed for more of Winning Time, but if this was the last time we're going to see these characters in the show, man, that show was fantastic, and that's why Winning Time is on this list. Now, before getting to my top 5 shows of 2023, I want to take this time to thank you all for making it to this point in the video. If you're having a good time, because I certainly am, make sure if you haven't already to hit that thumbs up button, share your list in the comments below, and also let me know what you think of my list so far, and of course, consider subscribing to the channel. That's going to bring us into my number 5, which, speaking of sticking on the theme of ending things, we have my favorite hitman turned actor, Barry season 4. As this was Barry Berkman's final curtain call, and as usual, it was an unpredicted crazy ride. From seeing Barry in prison to getting a huge time jump, which I know didn't work for everyone, but I like how it all came together, and where they took this story to seeing the Hollywood retelling of Barry's story was just great. But just speaking to the experience of the entire show of Barry, I can't think of a show that started off as a dark comedy and then went into just becoming dark and never lost incredible writing. I'm gonna miss Sally and NoHo Hank and Fuchs and Gene, but shout out to Barry Berkman, played beautifully by Bill Hader, who was also a part of the creative team, which is, speaking of the creators behind this show, thank you so much for giving me one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm going to miss you, Barry, but that is coming in my number 5, which brings us into my number 4. Back when the zombie genre was dominating pop culture and it was kind of getting stale, in comes my favorite video game of all time, The Last of Us. Now, HBO announced they were going to make it into a show. The creators behind Chernobyl were going to be involved. We have Pedro and Bella. I'm like, oh, some great casting. But then the icing on top, the cherry on top was, hey, we're going to bring in Neil, who was the creator of that great video game. He's going to be a part of the writing staff. And I'm like, okay, we might have something special on our hand. And my goodness, it was nothing short of phenomenal, because they not only managed to capture the essence of the video game almost perfectly, but then, like I mentioned, they casted these roles of Joel and Ellie to recreating these heartbreaking moments like Henry and Sam, to giving us one of the most beautiful episodes of TV I've ever seen with Bill and Frank, to those heart-wrenching finale. What a beautiful story, a beautiful first season television, and I cannot wait to see what they do with season 2, because listen, I haven't played The Last of Us Part 2. Now, unfortunately, I'm very aware of the big major spoiler. We'll see how they handle that storyline, but I'm really excited to see what they do, because that first season of The Last of Us was just phenomenal. Now, speaking of phenomenal, coming in at my number 3, Once Upon a Midnight Dreary, Netflix and the incredible mastermind Mike Flanagan brought us an exceptional series by the name of The Fall of the House of Usher. I mean, where do I begin? Whether it's the incredibly detailed story about this powerful man and his family's sins and their pride and greed taking over, and we see the tragic consequences of their actions, of them prioritizing wealth over love. Or do I talk about the powerful performances by the entire cast, and one of my favorite performances this year by Carla Giacchino as Verna? All the themes and the metaphors mixed together so well with the legendary poems of Edgar Allan Poe, and the callbacks and the foreshadowing was just on another level. I loved every episode. It was dark. It had so much to say about the pharmaceutical industry, and my goodness, that finale was fantastic. Like, every single episode was great. It is one of my favorite Mike Flanagan projects. It's number 2 to the Haunting on Hill House and also Midnight Mass. I mean, the man's a genius, but The Fall of the House of Usher was just incredible television. Now, getting into my top 2 and starting off with number 2, how do you top an already great season 1 of The Bear? Well, season 2 not only managed to do that, but they also crafted some of the greatest episodes of TV I have ever seen. As we see the new and improved restaurant finally being open, we also get to explore these characters more in depth and their personal experiences and struggles on full display. From seeing Cam and Sydney and Will They Won't They on pause because of Claire, what a great fascinating love triangle there, to seeing Cousin trying to find out to who he is. I can go on and on about the individual stories and the character development, but at the end of the day, The Bear Season 2 gave me some of my favorite episodes of TV ever, starting off with episode 6, which I believe was titled Fishes, and I won't spoil it. There's a big cast, a lot of surprises, but seeing the family drama and seeing all the stuff that went down, that family fight, oh my goodness, the acting, the writing, superb. But then you follow that up, which was my favorite episode of TV this year, Forks. Now, that episode includes Cousin going on his own self-journey, trying to figure out who he is, trying to find purpose at an older stage in life. That episode, you got to remember, these are like 30, 45 minutes of television, and within that time span, in both those episodes, it was like mini movies that were just perfect from top to bottom. I can't stress enough how much I love this show, and I can't wait to see what comes next. But speaking of coming next, that brings us to my number 1 of 2023, and it is the end of what I consider to be one of the greatest shows of all time, and that is Succession Season 4. For 4 near-perfect seasons, we've been waiting to see who's going to sit on the Roy family throne and run the company and become the succession, and creator Jesse Armstrong and the incredible team did the impossible, in my eyes, which was landing the plane and sticking the landing on the incredible final season of this great show. No spoilers, but what they do with the head of the family, I'm talking about Logan Roy in that particular episode, to the ramifications of what happened in that episode, so good, so well acted. To seeing the kids, Ken, Rome, Shiv, and can't forget about everyone's favorite brother, which is Connor, and of course cousin Greg, and Shiv's puppy dog husband Tom. What an incredible cast, perfect writing, and the acting from everyone was just incredible. Man, that finale just really worked for me, man. And listen, I wouldn't be opposed to like a one-off special 1-hour episode or a movie to kind of show us like the aftermath of what happened in that finale, but nonetheless, man, just appreciating the greatness that we got for those 4 seasons. I will always remember this as one of my favorite shows of all time, one of my favorite series of all time. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That will wrap up my 2023 list of my favorite and best shows of this year. Now it is your turn to share your list in the comments. Again, who were some of your favorite characters? What were some of your favorite episodes of TV? And again, share your top 10, top 5, top 15 favorite shows that you saw of 2023. I want to thank you all for watching this video. I have a lot more coming soon, so hit that notification bell. Top 10 movies, most anticipated shows of next year, most anticipated movies of next year. I'm going to have like top favorite horror movies. I'm going to make like into a short video, superhero stuff. So again, a lot of stuff coming soon. And also, just a quick little plug, I have live streams, episode breakdowns, short videos going over all those shows that we talked about in today's video. So check those out if you haven't already. Again, thank you for watching today's video. Just a friendly reminder, if you enjoyed yourself, to consider subscribing to the channel, checking out all those shows I was just talking about. Check out my most recent video. You all are awesome. Hope you're staying safe, and I'll catch you all on the next video.